I watched hours of interviews about the Odyssey, searching for the most fun, interesting, and mind-blowing stories about Christopher Nolan's latest masterpiece. Here are the 35 facts I think you'll enjoy most. Did you know Christopher Nolan was originally supposed to direct 2004's Troy? And that's when he imagined his version of the Trojan horse that he would go on to use in the Odyssey.
I was briefly attached to direct Troy. I had to figure out, because the horse was in that script, and so I had to sort of figure out, well, what's my approach to it? And I came up with this idea of the horse half buried in the sand, about to be destroyed or carried away by the waves, so that as the Trojans find it, the last thing it looks like, you know, there's no wheels, it doesn't look like something that's meant to be carried into the city. And that image stuck with me for, you know, decades.
Matt Damon screamed to purposely make his voice go hoarse for when his character was older.
Screaming
and screaming, and he was blowing his voice out just to sound older.
Before the Odyssey, IMAX cameras were too loud to shoot scenes with dialogue.
I'm thinking, like, is that what it's gonna sound like when we shoot our scenes? Like, that's really distracting. And then they brought the blimp out.
So IMAX built Christopher Nolan a soundproof blimp, but it was 400 pounds, so a total nightmare to carry. The Cyclops wasn't just CGI.
They had this 60-foot puppet that was in there that they were controlling so that we could interact with the puppet.
This puppet was then combined with Bill Irwin in a motion capture suit to produce one of the most chilling creatures in the Odyssey. Tom Holland and Jon Bernthal have known each other since filming The Pilgrimage in 2015, during which they actually helped each other prepare for the auditions that would get them the roles of Spider-Man and Punisher.
We were in Ireland making a film, and yeah, we did each other's audition tapes. And look, I just love him so much.
He did my self-tapes for Spider-Man, and I did his self-tapes for The Punisher. He's truly like one of my best pals.
The working title of the Odyssey was Charlie's Tale, named after Nolan's dog, who was a driving force for him choosing to adapt the famous Greek poem.
I decided to do the Odyssey because it's the ultimate dog story.
People are losing their minds over a photo of Matt Damon reading the Odyssey on the set of Talented Mr. Ripley back in 1998. It was just meant to be. While the IMAX blimp solved the noise problem, they also created a new one. They often block the actors from seeing each other, so they developed a mirror system to see each other around the camera. In the Ithaca scene, the crew hiked 45 minutes up a mountain every single day, except John Leguizamo, who did it once and said,
I'm not doing this again because it's not. I mean, 40 minutes climbing up that 900-foot cliff and then you got to act for 12 hours? No, I took the helicopter after that.
The Odyssey filmed in Greece, Italy, Morocco, Iceland, Scotland, and the United States. Matt Damon accepted to star in the Odyssey without even knowing what the movie was about.
Told me he wanted to give me the lead in a film, and I immediately just blurted out yes. And then he said, don't you want to hear what it is?
The cast didn't just pretend to row Odysseus' ship. They attended a rowing camp because they actually had to propel the near 100-ton vessel themselves. Everyone knows the Odyssey was shot entirely on IMAX, but did you know that IMAX magazines only allowed to shoot 3 minutes of footage at a time? Meaning the crew were constantly reloading the cameras.
Our camera department were more like an F1 pit crew. The speed that they were able to take that thing out, reload it, put it back in.
Funnily enough, Tom Holland didn't even know about this 3-minute limit. So at the beginning,
You would continue cutting, and I would like, in my head, I'm like, does he not like what we're doing? Like, what is happening?
Matt Damon actually grew out his beard for the role because him and Nolan decided a prosthetic would probably come off between the action and the constant splashing. The sacking of Troy used 2,000 actual extras. The Odyssey finished shooting ahead of schedule.
You know, we went in at 100 days. By day 91, we couldn't have taken another step. We were done.
Ludwig Göransson made all of the music for the Odyssey using instruments that actually existed in ancient Greece, most notably gongs and alloy. Shooting a movie fully on IMAX has been a dream of Christopher Nolan's ever since he was a child.
I saw IMAX first, I was about 16 years old at the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. Right then, I was like, if I could ever...
At 16?
Yeah, I wanted to make a film entirely in IMAX.
Zendaya, whose favorite movie is Interstellar, found out from Tom Holland in a really cute way that she was being offered the role of Athena.
Tom got the call first, and I was so excited. He came back from another meeting with Chris, and he was like, he handed me a script, and he was like, read it again. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, but now think of Athena. Yeah. And I was like, stop right now. Like, you're joking. So it was really cool. He was allowed to be the one to tell me.
Tom Holland also got the head of Sony to delay Spider-Man Brand New Day just so that he could be in the Odyssey. Odysseus' ship was the Draken Harald Harfarg, a real Norwegian boat built in 2010 that has actually crossed the Atlantic. Almost every actor jumped at the opportunity to be in Christopher Nolan's next movie without even reading the script, except for one.
I also thought Chris was so funny in his reaction, just saying like, he's like, "You want to read it?" Everyone else just said yes.
Everyone else has said yes.
I was like, "No, it's fine." I changed my mind. I changed my mind.
After Tom Holland told Matt Damon that he was a huge fan of the Bourne franchise, Damon made a funny reference to this in the middle of a grueling shoot.
It was a crazy day.
Jeez.
And on one of the takes, when we were getting towards the end, Matt had to like grab me and drag me out the way. And as he grabbed me, he went, "Tell me everything you know about Treadstone." I was like, "Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne!"
Some of the locations were so remote that the equipment had to be helicoptered in. Matt Damon dropped to 167 pounds for the role, the lightest he'd been since high school, and has quit gluten for good after realizing the benefits for him while dieting for the film. Christopher Nolan shot over 2 million feet of IMAX film for the Odyssey. That equated to 2,100 IMAX magazines and 105 hours of raw footage. The Cyclops scenes were filmed in a famous cave in Greece that the locals say is the birthplace of Zeus. This one's one of my favorite. While writing the Odyssey, Nolan put his Oppenheimer Oscar away because he found it really daunting to look at. But when he explained this to his son, he made a pretty valid point.
And he looked at me and said, "But you didn't win for writing."
CGI was not used for any of the large-scale scenes. If you saw 2,000 soldiers charging, there were 2,000 extras on set. When Tom Holland had a day off, he'd still go to set just so he could watch Christopher Nolan work.
Whenever I wasn't working, I would take I would go and see what was going on, just because it really felt like he was changing the game and it was history in the making.
The Odyssey required 5,300 costumes. They had a team of 175 artists in Los Angeles, and over 500 people around the world contributed to making them all. The Cyclops was partly inspired by a famous painting.
There's a painting by Goya, one of the black paintings of Saturn eating his children, that was a sort of touchstone for the mood, the sort of horror of it that we wanted to achieve.
Nolan first tested IMAX cameras with a single shot during The Prestige, and then gradually used more of it in each subsequent film, culminating in the Odyssey being 100% IMAX. They used strategically positioned miniatures to make the set of Troy look like a much bigger city.
Ruth de Jong had built these like miniatures in the distance so that if you kind of turned at a certain angle, the set would then take in the miniatures, which would then take in a town that was in the distance. So all of a sudden, a set that was like 200 meters wide would become like 7 miles long.
The cameras IMAX developed so that he could shoot the Odyssey have a deeply meaningful name for Christopher Nolan.
Actually, it's called the Keeley, and it's named after my friend David Keeley, who sadly passed just as we were finishing the dailies on this film. And he had been my IMAX mentor for, almost 20 years. And he's the guy who made so much of what we've done possible. And proud to say that he, before he passed, he was able to finish approving all of our last dailies and printing those. And we miss him greatly, but I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled that he's memorialized in the name of this brand new camera, which is, IMAX film is the highest quality imaging format that's ever been built.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more fascinating information about your favorite movies, and check out one of our full classic movie deep dives next.